Good day, good day. I am Red Hawk, and I'm hanging at the deep end with my cohorts, Mary Ann Rudis and Bob Hayes. You know, when I was a kid, I joined a children's choir. My mom was a member of this big church, and I like singing and stuff, so I joined this choir. And the first rehearsal, I have no idea of the music we were singing. The first rehearsal, we started singing harmonies. And I turned to the person next to me and said, "Is this legal?" I could not believe it. Something woke up in me. Music. Oh man, it's a dance. It's a dance of the soul. And in high school, I knew my girlfriend Donna Marsh was going to break up with me. So I bought 2 copies of Creedence Clearwater Revival's Bad Moon Rising. I gave one to Donna, and she did break up with me, and I kept one for myself. And you know what? It helped my broken heart. Just singing about my broken heart helped heal my broken heart. Of course, I was in high school, so we're all kind of fickle back then. Wasn't hard moving on, if you will. Music. You know, if you look at what it is, it's the art of the muses. And I believe it is powerful. It has healing powers. Between the vibrations of 16.35 hertz, a hertz is, by the way, 1 vibration per second. Between 16.35 hertz and 24,000 hertz, the phenomenon of hearing is perceived. The Earth's vibration is 7.8 hertz. Alpha waves in your brain, which is your most relaxed, 7.8 hertz. The word Aum has a vibrational understanding that connects one to the vibrations of the earth. Now, humans have learned that these vibrations, we can layer them and modify them through different medium, and we create this response in us. It starts probably with the drum and the voice, and then moves to flutes, eventually orchestras and symphonies, and most of all for me, songs. Between these magical vibrations and the poetry of lyrics, it seems like we create a potion of sorts, and it's a potion that can either calm or incite. It's a potion that can be like a salve or an irritant. As well, whole new unspoken aspects of our own nature can be revealed through a song or a piece of music that moves us. It's very difficult for me to hear Leonard Cohen's Alleluia, actually, when I play it, and almost choke up. Something's going on in that song, and it's become a meme for our time, a broken Alleluia. Music as medicine. This is not just belief informed by my own experience, but it's verified by so many scientific studies and awarenesses. We know that music has a powerful effect on our physical and mental health. It's just an amazing what the studies have shown. If you go to Brain Tap and just look up how music can benefit your health, it can reduce pain, it can reduce pain perception, I should say. We're still looking at what pain is, by the way. It helps us sleep better, helps us eat less, it enhances blood flow, it reduces stress, it helps in meditation, elevates the mood, improves cognitive performance, improves physical response. If you listen to music, something that's going to really hype you up before a football game that you're going to play in. Oh, man. It can help us cut anxiety. It assists in surgery. It reduces road rage. And if you look at the brain, I mean, seriously, man, the brain is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. And it when you listen to music, all these different parts of the brain are involved. Your working memory, your language, your emotion, your motor planning and spatial planning, imagery, mental rotation. I think these old symphonies, man, can you imagine going to those? And I mean, there's no TV or anything. There's no way you couldn't imagine. I listen to a lot of classical music, and it's like there's these narratives in my head I didn't know I had that just kind of pop out. Over and over, we see that there's a transformative effect on the brain. And this whole concept, studies have shown that we look at the kidney, we know what the range of vibrations per second that is most healthy for that organ. Go through all the organs. You can go online and look these up. It's just amazing, the studies that have been done. And what I've learned throughout my life is that spirituality and music are intricately connected. Just listen to some of Bach's grand organ fugues or Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Oh my God. Something in me, something in all of us moves, and it seems it moves us in the direction of love, reconciliation, and glory. These great spiritual pieces, oh my gosh. And you go east, you look at the music there. Holy moly. My wife and I listen to a whole lot of Middle Eastern music, full of this touching, this great touching that is life. And that's what I want to get to. Because if you look at it, look where science has gone. The leading edge of science is still string theory, even though it's all over the place. But basically what it is these things are vibrating. They're not things, they're vibrations themselves, little strings of vibrations. And everything is created out of those vibrations. And if we look at it that way, we start seeing that the universe, which means literally one song, is just that. If we start seeing it as one huge symphony, one song that we are singing along with, my gosh, something happens. Dissonance, think of what happens to dissonance when you start seeing it that way. Dissonance becomes a passing tone, not an end game. Although there are some symphonies that end in dissonance. So, like the universe, like cooking, like math, like learning, music has no end. It evolves, it changes, it finds new media of expression. John Cage, who would sit in a park bench and just close his eyes, and what he would hear would be music. You know, John Cage also, he wrote a concerto in tacit. And tacit means you don't play. So basically, I should say a piano piece in tacit. He literally came out on the stage, opened the piano, and sat there for 30 minutes in quiet. And everybody was just like, what's going on? But people started coughing, shuffling. They started, and after the piece, he said, that was the music. Could you hear it? I go downtown here in Spokane, and there's a carousel there. And in the summer, there's a huge fountain that the kids are playing in. And it's a cacophony of all these sounds. And I can close my eyes, and it literally is a symphony. Cacophonies at a party. Have you ever been to a party and just stopped and listened to all the conversations going on? It's music. My wife had a party, and I just sat at the top of the stairs and listened to it. It was music. It was amazing. And I could go down there at any point and join in. But I chose to receive. Walking by a pond. Think about that. Oh my gosh. You walk by a pond and what do you get? It's just an amazing event. They say that the medicine of the frog is life. And that's what I hear. So we live on the wetlands, and right now, oh my gosh, the frogs are so loud. They are not only loud, they're everywhere. My wife goes out to put the dog out, and frogs drop on her head because they're by the light shopping for bugs. You see, it's one big thing. And we are called in my own spirituality to tune our ears and souls to the music around us and the music within us. Because the fact is, music is another way to touch and be touched. And I think that is exactly what we have to somehow embrace with each other. Life is a song, and your living it is the singing. The melody, the harmonies, again, the dissonance, the passing tones. the best song that any of us can have is living fully. In my mind, that is not easy to do because it's easy to just sit back. But I want to say this. It's happening all around you. The big it that it was there at the beginning that caused it. The it that is the cause of every new creature that ever evolved. The it that is in you and dancing. And if we can see it, we can see that we can sing with it, with our lives. Who was it that said the true glory of God is a human being fully alive? That is the song we are each called to sing in my mind. Now, am I trying to sell you on this? No. I'm just trying to share my experience because I think all of us are trying to find ways to live in it, with it, and to have some way of moving it as it moves us in the direction of love and justice and peace and empathy and compassion. So that's my opening. I'm going to open it first to Bob. Bob is coming to us from Florida, and Marianne is coming to us from Spokane Valley. Again, my name is Redhawk, and I'm coming to you from Spokane. I'm up on the South Hill at 2,300 feet above sea level, and the glory of God, whatever God is, the glory of the universe, that point where we rise up and say yes, and what it is says yes to us. Bob, what say ye in this great symphony we're a part of?
Wow, it's hard to know which part of the deep end here to jump into at this point. I mean, music is so universal and it's so loved by everyone. Now, there's different styles of music that people are drawn to, and there's certain types of music that people are turned off by. But there's some kind of music that everyone loves. It's a part of their lives, and it enhances our memories. When we hear a song, it's impossible not to suddenly be remembering times in your life when that song was important to you. Mm-hmm. It seems so self-evident when you talk in terms of vibrations. And as you mentioned, string theory and quantum theory and so forth, is everything is vibrating. There's no such thing as a position of an electron in an atom. It's a vibration of, I don't even want to call it electrons. It's just, the electron is a vibration in and of itself. And that carries everywhere. Our thoughts, the connection between our minds and our body are vibrations. And it's so, when you think about it, it seems self-evident that music is going to be an important part of enhancing and melding with and becoming part of those vibrations. And it's a real blessing for everyone. You don't have to be a concert pianist to be able to hear a concert pianist and enjoy the sounds that are being produced. And it's something that we can share with one another that goes beyond any of our political differences, our ideological differences, and so forth. I've been kind of following the Taylor Swift tours around the world. And she's going to all these different countries where they speak different languages and they have their own musical heritage and so forth. And yet she's packing stadiums. She's setting records. She was just in Sweden and she broke the record for the stadium she was playing at. And people are sharing those experiences. And it really is a way to pull ourselves together. And I think it's probably one of the more potent, we've talked about storytelling and those kind of things that are also ways that we can pull ourselves together. But music it's effortless. You hear a piece of music, and it makes you feel better. And so I'm right with you with your opening statement.
Mary Ann, comments? Perspective? You want to sing a song?
Okay, so that's funny that you say that. Do I want to sing a song? So I remember when I was in second grade and I went to a Catholic school and they were doing tryouts for the choir. And so every kid had to go and do a tryout for the choir. And I was basically told, oh no, you cannot sing. And that affected me more than I ever realized that, oh my gosh, I can't sing.
Wow.
And yet I sing all the time. So I can do it, but I just may not be able to do it well. Or something that's pleasing to another person's ear. But when it comes to music, I completely agree with everything that both of you guys said, because it does connect us and it does create shared experiences and it does raise our vibrations. And I know just anecdotally in my own life, when I'm feeling down, I put on some music and I can shift right out of that just by listening to music. And it really does make life bearable. It makes life worth living. It brings joy. And it's, I think all of us have soundtracks of our lives, right? There are people that, and I can listen to a song that I heard 20 years ago and be right back there. So it does connect those memories. It connects us to our own lineage. And it can also take us to places we've never been before. You know, you're talking about some of these great masterpieces, and it does open us up. It makes us different. So there is a spirituality in music, and it is something that's universal, and it does connect us. And yes, we have our own tastes. And the other thing too is when you put lyrics to it, you mentioned poetry of lyrics. That's a way to get poetry into us, and it's a way for us to remember, because poetry is powerful, and we don't appreciate it as much as we should. But when you put it to music, it sinks into our souls and it becomes part of us and it affects us. So yeah, as a unifier, as a enhancement to life, because life can be hard. And I love that you told the story about your heartbreak, you know, because music can connect you and bring you through those kind of times. So yeah, it's definitely something that I would not want to live in a world without music. Let me put it that way.
Well, you know, you brought up one thing that was delightful for me, and that's music is a time machine. That I hadn't thought. I mean, I know that that's true. The same with smell. I mean, I smell lilies of the valley, and I'm hanging with my mom. So that is so true. By the way, in the song set that I'm working with Sweet Medicine, the first song we play is Bad Moon Rising, for what that's worth. But, you know, when my daughter was in school, I would go and get lesson plans, and then I'd write songs. Because something I learned in my study was that songs are data retention systems. And you're much more likely to remember Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus are far, but there's still Neptune and Pluto. The gravity of the sun won't let them go. Every one of my homeless kids that I sang with, everyone in every class that Sophie was in, up to the 4th grade when she told me I couldn't come and sing anymore, they knew the planets, and, you know, they knew the vowels. My grandson, you know, I got a song on the vowels. I just went to his preschool and taught them that. These songs are just amazing. You know, something you brought up, Bob, the labor movement would not have happened without songs. the protest movement in the 60s would not have happened. 1, 2, 3, what are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. I mean, if you're going into war singing that song, it's somewhat redemptive. I want us to see that music speaks. And your life is a song. And this is a good way to look at what your song is. There was a great show called Harold and Maude, and she's showing you got to find your cosmic instrument. You got to find your cosmic song. Each of us have to do that. Our whole spirituality, this is a way of talking about it. What is our song? What are we singing into the world, and how is we letting the world touch us? And I think music is a great way of looking at that. And again, the top 9 pieces for music for me: enhanced mood, cognitive benefits, we just talked about. It stimulates memories. It reduces stress. When I got my knee surgery, they said, what do you do to help relieve stress other than take drugs? And I said, I cuss and I do music. And they really help. Music lowers blood pressure. I'm starting to think, what kind of music should I listen to before I go to the doctor? Is it going to make a difference? It relieves anxiety. It creates emotional expression. Bad Moon Rising, that was how I was feeling, man. And by me realizing other people having those feelings, and Bob, you talk about Taylor Swift, she's talking about universal feelings. And people are saying, yes, that's me. She's talking about me. It's an amazing thing. And music reduces our stress response so that we don't just react, but we have time to sympathize, orchestrate.
Well,
and go ahead.
I was just going to say, each of our relationships is another song too, because we interact, and it's just so there's that sharing. And I wrote a poem one time about that the life with my daughter. It was like, someday we're going to finish our song, right? Because I could recognize that we did have something that was interconnected, and it was music, and it was beautiful, and it was harmonious,
harmonious. That's the great word there.
Yeah, and even though it may seem like it's kind of ended, it hasn't ended, and we're going to continue, and we will finish it. So, anyway.
Amen. Bob?
I was going to say that, and I don't know if it's just me or if this is somewhat shared by other people. For me, music is meditative, because when, one of the things that in transcendental meditation, for example, you use a mantra to smooth out, let the thoughts not to hang up in your mind, to let them go through, and you come back to the mantra. Well, for me, songs and music, I use as a mantra when I'm cutting the lawn, or when I'm doing something that I don't want to think about anything particularly. I don't want to be hung up on worries or whatever. I can just have a song going in my head, and it acts very much like a mantra. And I think that that's something, at least for me personally, that I have gained from music. And one other quick story. When I got married, we didn't want to have a traditional, coming down the aisle with the bridal march and so forth. So we put together a tape of the Moody Blues and Procol Harum. And we played that as our music for the wedding. And our parents, we had a lot of our parents' friends there and so forth. And you would be amazed how many of them came up. They didn't know that music. But by the end of that ceremony, the thing that was on their mind most was, where did that music come from? Could I get a copy of that music? And it was something that pulled the generations together, and it's something that pulled strangers into that gathering. It was a very powerful event.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's a connector, right? Music connects us.
It does, and it connects us with a language that is unspeakable by itself, and you can't. Nobody can really put their finger on it. We're starting to see the neurological aspects of it. We're starting to see how our organs refer to it. But I want us, we're getting to the end of our time, and I want us to see that the sun wanders through the Milky Way while the turning earth makes up our days, and the universe sings, "Don't miss your chance to join in this wondrous cosmic dance." The wind is blowing through the dancing trees while the birds sing nature's melodies, and the frogs, they croak when day is done. All of everything is dancing as one. And as the flowers are springing from the ground, so are we all called to make a joyful sound. Growing in this life that seeks to make us free, we're called to sing and dance along in harmony. That harmony thing, every time you're in a new relationship, there's a new chord being played. There's a harmonic system that is emerging, and it's brand new. The universe, when you meet someone new, that's the first time the universe has ever played those notes together. It's an amazing thing. And for me, when I start seeing it that way, wow, it's very helpful. Again, I go to a meeting, there's 8 people, 9 people, there's somebody there that's toxic, they're the passing tone in my mind. I start saying, okay, they're going to create a dissonance. How can we move that dissonance to a different harmony, if you will? And sometimes you just have to point out that that's dissonant. You're putting our young people down. Do you have any idea that you're even doing that? Well, that's not my intent. I said, well, that's exactly what you just did. Over and over, this piece of music as our life. To me, that's very helpful. There was even a phase in philosophy/physics called the music of the spheres, where people realized that something's going on here. We can't put our finger on it and measure it yet, but it's going on. So, music as medicine. I want all of our listeners to see that listening to music and being the music are both part of the same happening. And that when we begin to see our lives this way, at least for me, it was very helpful, especially when I get to those places that are dissonant and I start seeing them as passing tones, as this is a movement in the symphony of my life that is full of conflict and error and all this stuff, but there's a way to resolve it. And most of the time, Paul McCartney said it beautifully, let it be. The music of who you are, online, God said something on Facebook, asked a question. If you could give one piece of advice to the young people today, what would it be? And my view was authenticity. Just be the note you are. Don't try to be someone else's song, because your song, it's the only one in the whole universe. So, on that note, Marianne, final comments?
Oh my God, you just made me think of harmonic convergence and just when everybody starts playing their own song, that it's going to create the harmony that will unite us all. But the thing it's pervasive. And you mentioned you walk into a crowded room and you hear all this sound, and if you stop and listen, you don't make out the words, but you can hear the cadences, you can hear the rhythms, you can hear all of it going on. Right now I'm sitting here and I can hear a clock ticking in the background, and I can hear a lawnmower outside, and it's like all of it is coming together, and it's becomes part of us. And yeah, I think that music is one of the greatest gifts that we have in this world, and the more that we can appreciate it, the more our vibration will rise.
Amen. Bob, final comments?
Real quick, our mind and our body can get out of sync. And most of the diseases that we are faced with in life have at least some part due to that being out of sync between our mind and our bodies. Music can bring us into synchronization. And whether it cures us or just makes us feel a little bit better, it's still helping us. And for that, we should be very, very grateful to the universe.
Amen. Amen. I'll tell you, I have a song called Love, and the first line is, music has saved me. It helped me keep my sanity. And that's a fact for me. If I hadn't learned to pick up the guitar, I think I'd probably be institutionalized. Or maybe just getting out of prison. I don't know. That's a hard one to say. But you know, how do we come to this? How do we come? I mean, this week I went online and I went to universities. I went to studies. You see, one of the things I learned when I went to school is how to study. Because to be honest, I really sucked at it. And I barely got out of high school. And the whole concept of learning how to learn was so important. And what that has to do with is education. How do we come by what we come by? You know, I think of my dad, he's in the military, and he went away for 8 weeks one time. Where was he? He was at war college. He was being educated into the global picture of the United States Army and how it worked and all the points of possible conflict. Just amazing stuff. And after the war, he kept his notebooks, and I got them. And they were on demolition, how to load a weapon, how to improvise. This whole thing of education and learning how the world works. One of the things I learned as a kid was I wanted to know how the world works. And I still do. I'm still on it. Education doesn't have to be formal. Education just has to be intentional. And so, my friends, next week, we're going to talk about education and how the human family learns. Till then, blessings.